What's going on, people? It's Friday. You know what that means. It's time for the MMA Mainstream Podcast. I'm James, as always, joined by his co-host, my co-host, his co-host. I make it sound like a third person. Kaelyn. Kaelyn, how's it going?
What's that?
How's it going?
Oh, it's going. It's Friday. I'm excited. I'm always excited on Fridays.
Yeah, because we get to do a fun, awesome podcast.
Yeah, and the week's over.
Yeah, that too. That's actually more of a positive. Well, we were planning on having a fighter on today, and we're still hoping to have him on. We hope he joins us, but we haven't done picks in a few weeks because we've had so many interviews going on with local fighters competing in local events. We've had some 559 fights going on, which we do have it coming up in 2 weeks, March 11th in Visalia. We have MMA Fight Passes event, which is next week, March 5th in Bakersfield at Elite Fitness Center. So go check that out. I was a part of the first one. Awesome. 559 fights, as I always say, is awesome. Tomorrow, locally, we have in Central California, for those who don't know, but most of you do, we have Valley Fight Series going on over in Hanford. So literally 3 weeks worth of fights locally. That is awesome. I'm excited about it.
It's a nice change to finally have those. Now it seems like there's a lot going on.
Yeah, and I'm super okay with that. I would love to see pros, but you know what? I'll take what I can get. Amateurs, those guys fight, they're all heart, and so I appreciate that. So I do look forward to that. So those are events that are going on within the next few weeks. We will not be having a show next week because I'm going on vacation. I look forward to that. And then the week after, we might do something. We might go live on something because I'm going to go to 559 fights. I'm hoping Kaelyn will join me.
I hope so,
and then we could just say, hey, we're here at fights. Huh? You're not. Something goofy. But we'll figure that out when we get there. We haven't done picks in a while. We are going to do picks this time because there's a fight night this weekend because, of course, it's the UFC. They always have something going on. And when they don't, their library is so big, you can always go back and find something. Yeah, it's usually, around the holidays.
Yeah.
But still a good time had by all. So we're just going to cover the main card like we always do. We have Armen Petrosian versus Gregory Rodriguez. All right, he's making it. This says he's making his debut and his record's 1-0. I'm pretty sure he has a better fight record. Just for some reason, the UFC doesn't want to really figure it out and put it in there against Gregory Rodriguez, who is 11-3 and coming off of a win. Better reach advantage by Rodriguez.
Yeah.
I'm going to automatically go Rodriguez with the experience advantage.
Yeah. Same here.
All right. I've noticed that when I do fight picks and I write them down because I'm just old school like that. It's just easier for me to write them down like this. Mm-hmm. That when I'll put our first initial next to it, depending on who we pick. And sometimes it says JK. And I'm like, oh, yeah, just kidding. All right, let's move up the card. We have, we have Joel Alvarez, because I can pronounce that, versus Armen. Yeah, go Armen.
Sarukian, I think. Sarukian?
I think you're right. I think you're right, but I still would appreciate the UFC having some pronouncers because, or I just don't hear. I don't have anything where I can listen to them say it. But I can't even pronounce his nickname. Let's just be real. He's ranked 13th. He is 17-2 against Joel Alvarez, who's 19-2. That's a pretty close fight, I feel. Even though Armen is ranked, I am still curious to see what Joel has to offer again in this type of fight.
Yeah, I can't say I know anything about either of these guys as far as remembering them fighting before, but is number 13 the bottom of the ranks or is it 14? Or does it go to 15?
I want to say 15. I'm quite sure it's 15.
Okay. Well, maybe if Joel Alvarez beats this guy, he can get into the rankings. Maybe, I'm not sure, but either way,
but
don't know.
he does have 2 more wins compared to Armin.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna go with Joel Alvarez based on record.
I'm gonna go with Joel.
He has an advantage there.
I'm gonna go with Armin because he's already ranked, and so he already has previous experience in the cage. I'm not saying that Joel does, and Joel does, but I'm just going with somebody who's just a little bit higher. Yet this is the perfect opportunity for Alvarez to come out and take that spot and make his way up the rankings. And from the looks of it, by his wins, Armin is more well-rounded, whereas Alvarez goes to decision. No, he doesn't.
True.
So Alvarez will finish the fight. So I do appreciate that, of course. I think a lot of us do, unless it's like Chandler versus Gaethje, because that was one of the most exciting fights in history. But that's beside the point.
True.
We made our picks for that. We have a women's flyweight bout between a South Korean woman and a woman from Brazil. Man, I should have looked at these names before we did the show.
Fire Fist and Zombie Girl. That's easy.
There we go. We'll just go by the nicknames, folks. We have Fire Fist, who's 9-4-2, and if her fist was really on fire, that would be dope. And then we have Zombie Girl, who's 10-4. Both fighters are coming off losses. Fire Fist has a pretty good reach advantage.
Yeah, that's pretty long there.
Yeah, I'd say so at 72 inches. Fire Fist is more overall consistent, whereas Zombie Girl she's either going to knock you out or go to decision.
Yeah. I also don't know what weight this fight is at. Maybe 125?
This is, I want to say flyweight, female flyweight.
Oh, okay.
Let me go to it real quick. Yes.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Interesting. I'll go with Priscilla, Zombie Girl.
Going with Priscilla?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Fire Fist. I feel like her overall, like if it went to the ground, she could submit her. But yet, I don't see Priscilla doing that. I don't see her doing that because of the way she finishes a fight, but she hasn't been known to go to decision. So we shall see. Moving up the card, we have Wellington Thurman, which is weird. Wellington, I feel like that's a British name, and homeboy's from Brazil.
I don't know. Brazil's got some weird names down there.
True that. Lots of blending. Lots of blending names. And then we have Misha Cirkunov. Yes.
Yeah.
15-7 for Cirkunov and 17-5 for Wellington. Heavy dudes.
I'm gonna go with Misha.
Misha has the 5-inch reach advantage. You're going with Misha. Let me check one thing. I'm going with Misha as well. I feel like he's the better overall fighter, even though he has 7 losses compared to Wellington's 5. And then we have Islam Makashev versus Bobby Green. Bobby Green has tattoos on his head.
Yeah.
The only other fighter I know that has a tattoo on his head, not like that, but a tattoo on his head is Vanderlei Silva. Baddest man on the planet. One of the baddest men on the planet. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah. I don't know who to go with. Both these guys are really good.
They are. I'm taking Islam though because he's ranked number 4. He's 21-1. Bobby Green is 29-12-1. Both fighters coming off wins, but I feel like Islam's wrestling is going to neutralize a lot for Bobby Green.
Yeah, he will. But I'm going to pick Bobby Green and see what happens.
You're going to pick Bobby Green?
Yeah.
Bobby. All right. And those are our picks for the UFC Fight Night this weekend. Of course, check it out on ESPN Plus because that's where I found them. So I figure that's probably where they air them. I don't know if they air them on actual ESPN. I just know that they have them on ESPN Plus.
On their pay-per-views, they will play the prelims on ESPN, and then it switches over to the pay-per-view. But I think it's just ESPN Plus that plays the fight nights.
Well, I appreciate that they play it because I can rewatch them during the week to get caught up.
Yeah, you can always go back and watch them.
I usually am behind.
I think you can always go back and watch them. I don't know if they keep all of them on there though.
I don't know, but it's usually the following week. Like, so the fight has happened. Usually next week, I will go back and watch it.
Mm-hmm. I'm just mean like maybe would it be there like a few weeks from then? I don't know if they have a library of all of them or if they take them down.
You would think they would, but I think you're right, but I'm not quite sure because I know there's MMA Fight Pass. Sorry, we have UFC Fight Pass where you could see all the historical stuff, so you could see damn near every UFC. So
yeah, almost. If they're really, really old, yeah. And even in ESPN Plus, you can go back to like the library that they have there, and you can they'll display some like classic ones.
That is something worth looking
I don't know if it's all of them.
It should be. Yeah. You would think it would be.
You would think since you pay so much money for all this crap, you would be able to watch whatever one you want.
Random question before we
you should be able to find it. Huh?
Have you seen UFC 1?
I don't think. Who was it?
Hoist Gracie won the tournament.
I'm not sure. I may have at least seen clips of it because they always kind of put those out there. But I haven't actually sat down and watched. Okay, I'm gonna watch UFC 1. I haven't done that.
You should, because if you realize at the era,
I will.
Because it was the first when the dude gets kicked in the face. It was because of before the unified rules, and so it's so ruthless.
I think there was no rules, right? Like,
there was no? I think there was no fish hooking. I think that was like the only rule. Because in like UFC 3, I got to rewatch them. It's been a long time since I've seen these. I want to see.
I don't think. Can you
Keith Hackney
when they're down?
Yeah. So UFC, I want to say 3. I'm not quite sure if I'm right or wrong. If I'm right, awesome. If I'm wrong, please, someone out there, let me know. Keith Hackney versus Joe Sun. Keith Hackney just groin punched Joe Sun to like no end.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just
that's crazy.
Shots to the junk.
Well, that's...
Yeah, and random note, Joe Sun is now serving prison time because he murdered someone. So yeah, good times.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and Keith Hackney's just living his life. He's just like, yeah, I punched a dude in the junk. It was cool.
Oh boy.
Yeah, but let's continue on, folks, because we have other things going on in the world of combat sports. Like Chad Mendes. He competed in bare knuckle fighting and won very convincingly. He did a great job knocking out who he fought. I don't even remember who he fought. I just saw the highlights and he clocked that dude.
Knockouts, I think. They said that he's knocked him down like definitely more than once, but like they were saying like the guy should have been done a long time ago. Is what they were saying. Like, and he just dominated. I saw some really good highlights.
It was phenomenal.
It looked great.
He fought Joshua Alvarez.
Oh, okay. He looked like he was doing MMA striking, which was nice because you could see how like clean his skills were from MMA. The way he punches isn't exactly a traditional boxing type, but he's got his fist in there, so that was really cool to see because he kind of
did what he needed to do. His fist in that guy's face.
Yeah, he fought like how he fights in a cage, and I thought that was cool because it dominated.
Yeah, he looked awesome when he put that guy down. I was like, "Whoo, yeah, all right." And I'm a fan of Chad Mendes. I mean, he's a local guy. I followed his career for a long time because he's been around a little bit younger. He's a little bit younger than me, but I've followed his entire fight career. So that was awesome to see him make a comeback because he hasn't competed since December of 2018. Wow. And to see him competing again was awesome.
Yeah.
Now, all right, we talk about somebody who's now competing in bare knuckle fighting. Now I'm going to talk about somebody who I thought was retired from the UFC and would possibly compete in bare knuckle fighting. Shogun, the legendary Shogun from Pride, his brother Ninja, because for some reason they're super into martial arts films. I love it. Is going to be fighting in a rematch at UFC 274. This, we were talking about it before the show. This totally trips me out because I thought he was done. He hasn't competed in so long.
Right. Yeah. Well, I don't know. And it's been so long that I don't even remember what happened or why, but I feel like he may, oh wait, hold on. No. Well, I don't know if it was due to injuries, but he hasn't fought in a long time. I kind of assumed he retired. He may have. I just don't remember.
It's been 2 years. This says that
2
Rua
years.
last competed in November of 2020, losing to Paul Craig.
Okay.
And then Dana White also voiced uncertainty about Shogun's future.
Okay. Well, 2020, and then COVID happened. I'm sure that kind of got pushed under the carpet, I guess. But now,
I'm just excited because I'm a fan of Shogun. I know he's on the end of his career. Let's be honest, but still a fan.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised he was still fighting even in 2020. But yeah, so I don't know what his deal was. Did he retire? Did he not? How many fights does he have left? He obviously has more fights left.
This might be it.
It's it.
We'll see. Yeah. We shall see. And I'm curious to see how he performs because he'd also had knee surgery and what have you.
But also, why is he so far down on the
list?
list?
Bounce back from that.
Why is he not like the third from the last? He should be.
Because I think it's to the point now where fans don't know.
They don't. Yeah, no, they don't.
I mean, hardcore, like people like us and people that I know in the MMA community, of course, because they've been around it a long time, know who Shogun is. Yeah. But if you ask some fair weather fans, they don't know.
Apparently, isn't that?
They're like, has he fought Connor? No.
Yeah.
Has he fought Donald Cerrone? Like, you don't even know who Donald Cerrone is. You just heard that name somewhere.
I don't even know who Donald Cerrone is anymore. It's just crazy.
I know. It's nuts. But I'm excited to see him fight. I hope he wins.
Yeah.
I like him. But I'm excited for this card that he's competing on at UFC 274 because you have Glover Teixeira defending his belt, and then you have Charles Oliveira versus Justin Gaethje.
That's going to be really great.
That's going to be good. I mean, the rest of the card I feel is kind of eh.
I have no idea who. I mean, Chason, I know who that is. Norma Dumont.
Yeah,
they're fine.
But that's also I don't know if this is like an official list, as in the way of this is how it's stacked. This is just the list that they have of fighters competing on the card so far.
Mm-hmm.
But
shall see then.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to pay that much for a pay-per-view.
Yeah,
sorry, really Dana White.
Yeah,
I'm still curious to know if their views have gone down because
if they did. I don't think they would say. Do you think they would even say? I don't think they would say.
They wouldn't want to admit it. No,
they wouldn't.
Pretty sure they would not want to admit that.
I don't think has UFC ever dropped their prices in the history of UFC. Like the pay-per-views.
I don't think so.
They've only gone up, right?
When they started off, they've only gone up because when they started, they were relatively cheap.
Relative.
Then again, that was also like
no, but ago. Yeah, I mean, what are you thinking? $50? Is that the one you're talking about, or less?
I want to say it was less. If I
remember them being,
it might have been. I remember being like 30 to 40.
I remember $49.99 when I first started getting into it. And then
that makes sense when you were getting into it, but I'm talking about when when Zuffa bought it and they were coming out in 2001. That's when I got back into it because I was a fan of it early on, but then you couldn't watch it on pay-per-view, and I didn't have satellite because satellite was, I want to say, the only provider hosting it.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they got it all figured out and Zuffa took over in 2001, then they started putting it back on pay-per-view, and that's when I was able to now see it and have access to it. Thanks, Black Box. I miss you.
Yeah, I don't even know what those are. I've never even seen one of those.
Oh man, Black Boxes were so amazing.
I heard.
Yeah, when I was in my younger days, I watched like just damn near every pay-per-view thing because I had it at my fingertips and it was free and it was amazing. I recorded everything. Oh, good times. Sorry, I just had to reminisce. But the prices have steadily gone up, of course. But now it's at such a price that it's just ridiculous.
Yeah. I used to think to myself, do I really want to buy this? Okay, I'll buy it. It's not a big deal. It's $60. Now it's like, dude, no. I'm
when
actually
you're trying
mad.
to save for something, it's rough. It's like, oof, damn, that's gonna hurt.
Yeah, you're like, I guess I'll just watch the highlights or try and stream it. Like streaming works, but it's always crappy quality, and you have to watch it live too. You can't go back and watch it later or anything. But I haven't bought one since they've raised the prices.
Same here.
It's too much. And then I know Dana White said it's not even him, it's ESPN, but
yeah, which does make sense. But still, it's like Dana White, man, come on. Who's the one who? All right, let's be real. Who's the one who set up this deal? You're supposed to be the big boss man.
I don't think he is the big boss man. That's the thing. I don't think he is.
You don't think so anymore? You think they've taken away certain power?
I don't think. Well, when you go to ESPN, I don't think you have that power to begin with. Like you had it when you're not with ESPN, but ESPN, you're pretty much giving your business to them, and they're handling it for you. And so when they raise the prices, there's nothing you can do. I mean, I don't know if he has a say. I think he should have a say if he even wants to. I don't even know if he wants to. He probably doesn't want to. He probably wants them to make as much money as they can. And I think he thinks that people are going to watch it regardless, except for the whole streaming fiasco, which might come back again to haunt him. And then he's going to threaten everyone saying, well, we're going to take him down and everybody else that's involved. And I don't know if that's happened yet or not, but he did say his threats worked. Who knows? He could be making all that shit up anyway. I don't know.
Very true. He could be. Dana White, are you full of shit? That's what we really want to know.
He might be. He might be. I used to think he wasn't. I'm starting to think he might be full of some shit. I feel like he has moments. Depends what we're talking about. Depends what you're asking him about. You know,
very true.
Something that gets on his nerves. You could tell. I still want to know what the hell's going on with him and Francis that makes him hate him so much.
Well, I don't know. I think that has to do more. I feel like that has to do more with managers and fighters wanting more money. You know, the UFC the UFC being a corporate entity will tell you certain things to make it sound like you're getting paid a lot of money, but in reality, you're making a decent amount of money. But the way they will make it sound is that, hey, you're the man, and we're going to pay you like you're the man. And they do give out bonuses, so you know there's nothing wrong with that. They give out
a lot. The bonuses are good. Like what, 50 grand?
Yeah, you're right. But you got to earn it, which I completely understand.
That's
but fine. Still, certain fighters, like, just they don't get paid much of anything.
No, not for their time. That's for sure. Not for what it takes to actually get there and work out their issues.
The training and all that jazz.
For a fight camp, you know, because you have managers and promoters, and also the time it takes to train. You can't really have a good job on the side, much less a career.
If you're that invested.
Unless you want to wake up at 4 a.m. and do training, which I'm sure some of them do, and then at night, but it's like, I don't know. And then you can't concentrate at work because you're hurt, you're sore, you got to go back again after work to go train, and then it's just. And then, you know, I don't know. And I don't know what kind of good job you can hold. I think some people had really good careers and fighting, but that's rare. And most people can't get a great career and train to fight professionally. The time isn't there, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Unless they get into it late and they already have a career and then they decide to fight and they're good at it, you know. It's not really
but that's few and far between.
Yeah. And the people that are smart enough to have a good career like that don't want to go get punched in the face either. You know, some of them are doctors, some of them are dentists, I heard. And, you know, really smart, intelligent people. They're like, why would I go get punched in the face for this little paycheck when I can go sit at a desk and make 3 times more and not get hurt?
It's the glory.
You have to really love it to do it. And not a lot of people have the patience to at least get into the UFC. I think some of the other organizations pay a lot better than UFC does. I think Bellator pays a lot better. PFL is a whole different entity.
I think you're right about Bellator, or if not, it's it's pretty good pay, not necessarily like what
Decent,
everyone
but
really wants.
I mean, when you're starting out, no, it's probably never good when you're starting out anywhere.
No.
But I do feel like Bellator pays more than UFC. A lot of the fighters come from UFC and say it's way better. I don't know what the numbers are. No one actually tells you what the exact numbers are.
Yeah. You hear some of the numbers, but it's like, how does that include bonuses? Does it include this? Does it include that?
And then you got to give a percentage of that away to your team, whoever helped
Usually,
you get there.
I want to say 10 to 20%, depending on what, because there's your team and then there's management.
Yeah. Also, and I don't know, what if you get injured? Do they cover it? I know Bellator does. I don't know.
I want to say the UFC does. If you incur an injury, I want to say yes. If you incur an injury while in the UFC cage, they will cover your medical expenses. But if it's like a random injury that you could have suffered, like,
oh no, I meant in the
tripped
fight.
and fell off a curb. Yeah, in a fight, yes.
Okay,
yes.
Well, that's
good. A lot of smaller promotions won't. I've heard of fighters.
They can afford that. They can afford to pay for a surgery.
I've heard of, well, I mean, get the insurance. The insurance might be crazy though.
I wonder what their insurance even covers. Sounds like a scam for fighters.
Right.
Like, why are we going to insure your fight organization? These guys are in there to hurt each other.
They're in there on purpose to do that.
That's the point.
All right, so let's keep moving on. Speaking of, I don't know if he was injured, but it was a quick fight. Grigorieff Mousasi taking out Mr. Van Zant in 85 seconds with a TKO. Wow. Actually, his name is Austin Vanderford, but let's be real. I only know him because he's married to Paige Van Zant. That's the only reason why I know him.
Yeah, I didn't know about him. Yeah, I did after, but I wouldn't have known.
He was 11-1 and 5-1 in Bellator, and it took 1:25 for Grigorieff Mousasi, who's 49-7-2 in MMA and 7-1 in Bellator, to defend his middleweight championship.
Yeah,
I'm a huge fan of Mousasi. I've been a fan of Mousasi since I first learned about him when Affliction was around, and that was back in like 2008.
That was a very long time ago.
I know, back when, like, I don't even know if you were into MMA yet. So
barely. It was there. Yeah, it was there. I've seen those shirts.
I think
with
I
all the
still
pretty
have
jewels on there. Those are cute.
I think I actually still have a picture of me and him.
Oh,
I got a picture
really?
with him. Yeah, it was super blurry though. I swear we were drunk taking pictures at the weigh-ins. And I was like, just because of my knowledge of MMA at that time, I'm not saying I was better than anybody, but I knew a lot of the fighters that were there, and I was like, oh gosh, let's get a picture.
Yeah.
I was a huge fan of the Affliction promotion. I didn't think it was going to take over the UFC. They did. The first fight I saw, their first time that they held a pay-per-view, I saw it was awesome. The second one, it was when Fedor fought, why am I blanking on his name? He's in the UFC right now, Andrei Arlovski. I bought tickets, and I will be honest, I used my media suave and had a buddy help me out to get me better seats using a media credential. We were putting auxiliary media, which was further down, but we weren't up in the rafters because we had cheap seats. So I got to see when Fedor, I got to see him fight live. That's honestly like one of my favorite highlights as an MMA fan. I got to see him fight live and win.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Arlovski went for like this pretty flashy knee. Fedor came over the top, clocked him. He came down, game over. That's a wrap. Fedor for the win.
Boy. Yeah, of course.
I bought tickets to see the third Affliction event, which was going to be Barnett versus Fedor. That one I was so pumped for.
That's
because I knew about Josh Barnett. Josh Barnett, that's a bad dude. And against Fedor, that was to me, that was going to be an epic fight. I actually still have the ticket because I had a physical ticket and the promotion folded. So I got a refund, but I still have the ticket for a fight that never happened.
With the names on there.
Yep.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
I was so amped for that fight too. I actually got to meet Josh Barnett at Comic-Con.
That's
later on. And so I have the Affliction poster of the event I went to, and it's signed by him. And I got a picture with him.
That's cool.
Yeah, really cool guy. I've always been a fan of his. All right, so let's go ahead and move on from MMA history back to more relevant MMA news. If you're a fan of Michael Bisping, you probably know his story. But yet, if you don't, and you want to learn more about him, which I know his story, I still want to watch this.
I will watch it.
There's a trailer that dropped for the Michael Bisping story. They've made a documentary about him, and it features a lot of people.
It's about time. Hey, you know what's even better? A freaking movie, because that's a great movie. His life.
That would be an awesome movie.
I don't know. I take that back because I don't think I have yet to see a good MMA film or movie that wasn't a documentary.
Okay. You didn't like Warrior?
No.
What? Why did you not like Warrior?
God, it's so cheesy, man. When you have.
Is it because of the story was cheesy?
Oh, that too. Yeah.
Okay. I understand that, but the way it was shot, the action looked in the cage, I thought that was so badass. I thought
it's better than most. Otherwise, you get these actors that don't know how to correctly, like when you know how to throw a punch, it's not the same as you see in the movies. It's far off. Like, and I'm just like, I almost feel like it's disrespecting the sport to put out movies with these Hollywood actors where it's like, please don't do it. It diminishes, I think, the appreciation of MMA. Have yet to see a good one. I think they could still make one. I don't know. Maybe don't do it. Maybe leave it alone.
Now the story overall was over dramatic. Oh, documentaries are phenomenal. I'm a huge documentary person.
Me too.
The story was over dramatic for Warrior. I will say that.
Yes.
I did like the movie. I still like the movie. I thought the fight scenes were well choreographed and well done. When they had Kurt Angle as this dangerous Russian, which is kind of funny because he's an Olympic gold medalist and the most American person ever.
I know.
To me, in that movie, he came out with a tap out shirt when tap out was still a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, especially with today's climate, it was a Russian tap out shirt for his character.
Ooh,
I still want that shirt. That shirt was so dope. I was like, I saw that and I told my boys, I was like, that they need to make that. They never did.
Yeah.
But they should have. I would have bought that hook, line, and sinker. They would have had my money. And then funny. Tap out is what it is now. It's owned by some random company and no one cares.
Yeah, that's a little outdated by now, but
very much so. Yeah, I still wear tap out shirts when I do this show. So
you do. Those are vintage.
I do. I rock classics. That's right. Classics all day. Maybe if I wait another 10 years, they'll be super vintage, and I could sell them for like $50 to $100. I don't know about that. I see a lot of stuff from when I was a kid that's being sold for outrageous prices, and I'm like, "Are you serious? Really?" Okay.
But yeah, I haven't seen anything that really was like, oh, that movie's cool and it's a MMA one. I'm like, I criticize it from the beginning to the end, so I don't know.
What is your favorite MMA documentary?
Oh, the first one that came to my mind was what's it called? Oh crap. John Jones, Holly Holm was in it. What is it called? It's called The Hurt Business. That's what it was. I like that one. I watched it a few times. It wasn't old school because at the time John Jones was fighting, and he was in it.
No, it is old school because he hasn't fought in so long.
But as far as classic goes, it's not classic.
Yeah, no, you're right.
But that one was good. I watched that one. That one's on Netflix, I think, or was. It's called The Hurt Business.
I'll have to check that out because I don't think I've seen that.
Yeah, it was cool. I think it was like an hour or so, but it was a good documentary. I can't think of anything other ones though. Can you? That you've seen?
My favorite is Hickson Gracie's Choke.
I think I started to watch that.
That's an old one.
Really late,
you probably would. You probably would.
Well, I put it on when I was already half asleep. I just wanted to listen to something. I still have to watch it and actually pay attention to it. But I hear that one's really, really good too.
They talk about Hickson Gracie. They talk about Mark Coleman. Also, actually, I think I might be mixing it up. Hickson Gracie's Choke and then the Smashing Machine. Smashing Machine, I believe, has Mark Coleman in it. That one is crazy. That shows more of a dark side to MMA at that time because you've heard of Mark Kerr?
Yeah.
He had a serious problem with certain performance-enhancing drugs, and it showed.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't refrain from that. It showed.
Okay.
Then they talked to.
I think I may have watched
it. I want to say Mark Coleman was in that too. I mean, I might be getting it mixed up, but I think I'm right because Hickson Gracie's just followed him, whereas Smashing Machine featured Mark Kerr and Mark Coleman. Because those are two of the greatest MMA documentaries, at least at that time. Of course, the sport has evolved, the game has changed. Although Hickson Gracie, to me, is still the most dangerous Gracie, and I will argue with anybody about that. Because that dude, man, on a mat, man. Actually, I'd just say in life in general, just dangerous overall. That's why I'd love to meet him. I think I admire him so much.
Where is he living at now? Or
if he's not in, I mean, he lives wherever the hell he wants. No, if he's not in LA, he might be in Brazil, but I'm not quite sure.
I was thinking he might probably be in LA. I don't know. Could be totally.
I think so. I mean, a lot of the Gracies have moved to LA, so
yeah, I think so.
That's where their main hub is with Horian and whatnot. But I definitely want to check out this Michael Bisping documentary. I'm very curious to see if there's anything I don't know.
ESPN Plus, is that what it's coming out on? Or
no? Let's go back to the website and let's see what they say.
Netflix, Hulu, Prime, even.
It will be. I want to say it will be streaming
or YouTube. I don't know.
Available to rent or own on March 21st.
On what?
It just didn't say. So maybe they're working out a deal for a streaming platform. But I like physical media. I'm that old. I'm old school like that. I would, if I found this on Blu-ray, I'd buy it.
I mean, I guess rent it, whatever. I don't know.
I imagine it'll be on multiple streaming platforms.
I wonder how long it's gonna be. I hope it's more than an hour because that guy's got a big story.
I think it's either 2 hours or an hour 30.
That's like a real movie.
It should run like a good long documentary.
That's cool. I can't wait for that. I mean, I've heard his story. I've listened to. He has a few documentaries on YouTube of just about
because his story is so interesting.
Yeah, it actually is. And I used to hate Michael Bisping, and I didn't know why.
Same.
But then
I hate him because he was an arrogant prick.
I know, but you didn't know the backstory, and I didn't either. And once I found out, he is one of my favorite UFC fighters now. He's up there for sure. I had no idea he was
one of my favorites. He became one of my favorites after his knockout loss to Dan Henderson. Because I was like, good. But, yeah. Oh, when he got starched by Dan Henderson.
I don't remember that one, but I believe you.
Oh, it was rough.
Was it?
He was circling. I want to say to his right. This is an older fight now. He was circling, and Dan Henderson was just kind of waiting, and then kind of caught on to what he was doing, and then boom, put him down, and then came down with the punch because the referee hadn't finally finished the fight, and hurt him some more. Like really put him down. But then I feel like something changed after that. And I was like, I like this guy. I maybe his view had changed. Maybe it just something, the way he was coming across was different. And I was like, I really like this guy.
Yeah, no, I never liked him by watching his fights. I liked him by watching his little backstory or documentaries or whatever you want to call it. And then
With his
he
appearance in The Ultimate Fighter.
yeah, and then when he knocked out Rockhold, I was excited for him, and I was hating on him like pretty hard at that time, and then when I saw him win, I totally changed my mind, and I didn't.
You know what?
Really
I probably have to agree with that. That sounds about right.
And then it totally exposed Rockhold because I don't think he has anything left. If whatever
He
it was
certainly
that he
hasn't
had.
been the same. No.
Yeah. But yeah, I was a fan after that and knowing his backstory. So that was cool. And I'll forever and he's so funny. I don't know if you ever listened to his podcast that he has.
I haven't heard his podcast, but I've heard him do commentary. I've seen him in movies, and I really appreciate him for what he's provided in entertainment. Yeah, he's been in. Yeah. Okay. So in the documentary, Vin Diesel is one of the people that they've interviewed, and it's because he was in one of the XXX films, which is not an adult film. It's a spy movie. I know we kind of got it mixed up, right? But he was in all sorts of just kind of random roles. He would just pop up. It's like, oh, okay.
Never seen him in anything. Never seen him pop up. I know he's hosted some shows on Netflix too, which is funny, but
I didn't even realize he had hosted shows. So that's more than
I
actually
know. It had nothing to do with fighting. It was actually I really liked the show a lot. It was called Hyperdrive. It was a competition for race cars, or race cars, whatever. Some people had muscle cars. Someone had a classic car or a super car, where they had this track where, oh man, I think it was more of like a drifting contest where you would drift around this course, but you have to hit targets with your car. So as you drift around the corner, you have like 3 pegs you have to hit with it to get all the points or something. And the courses were really crazy. And he hosted that. So I thought that was pretty cool. Nothing to do with fighting, but he did do that. And I was like, okay, well, he's, doing things.
If he ever hosted the Great British Bake Off or one of those British baking shows, that would be so awesome. I'd watch the shit out of that. I'm telling you, I'd be all over that.
Speaking of cooking, did you know Paige Van Zandt was on Chopped a long time ago? I don't know if she won.
No, I just knew she was on Austin Vanderford because I see the photos they post on social media.
Yeah, well, I mean, I watched Chopped like when I'm bored, and I was like, oh shit, she was on there because they were having an athlete version, and she was the athlete for MMA, so she was on there.
Like, I made this keto dish.
Yeah, I think she won.
It's steak and vegetables.
Yeah, but she won, so she cooks really well too. And I didn't know that. That's kind of cool. But
right on. That's awesome.
I don't know. Speaking of MMA fighters doing other things, it's kind of cool. Oh, also, I saw Jackass last weekend, and Francis Ngannou is in it. I thought that was cool.
Did he punch somebody?
Yeah, he did. Awesome. So I forgot who. Dave England. I don't know. Are you familiar with Jackass?
Yes, I am. I'm very. That's of my era, believe it or not.
Okay. Well, do you remember when Johnny Knoxville did this thing called the cup test? And what happened was a bunch of kids were in a line, single file, just walked up to him and kicked him in the cup. And also at the end, he sat down on the ground, and up top they were dropping pool balls on him. Anyway, this is another rendition of that with Dave England, who they said they were having someone come in. He's just going to punch you. He's going to punch you in the cup. And they said, okay, we have a lightweight that's just going to come in and do it. Turns out it's Francis. So he walks out and he's like, the heavyweight. He's like, dude, I thought it was going to be a lightweight. And then it showed.
Yeah, he is light right now.
It showed the cup at the end because it's metal, a big old dent in it. I thought it would have been more destroyed, but
that's nuts. That's awesome.
Yeah, so he was in that. I thought that was funny.
All right, so stuff you didn't know Michael Bisping was in.
Yeah,
let's go to it. He was in a Never Back Down movie, which I didn't care for the first one. I love the rest of them though. There's others that have been released, and I'm a huge.
I saw the first one, and that's
the first one. Meh.
What I was saying is how cheesy these things are. That one was terrible.
Yeah, I know. It's okay though. But he's been in a lot of like random stuff. Like he was on MacGyver, the TV show.
Oh gosh.
He was in Den of Thieves, which I actually really enjoyed as a film.
I think I saw that movie. Oh, you're right. He was.
And then Triple Threat, which I've seen.
I haven't seen that. That's funny.
Well, Michael Jai White, the guy who plays in it, the black guy, he's one of my favorite actors. So I watch just about anything that he's in.
The Journeyman.
Warrior, the TV series, which, I forgot he was in that. I like that show. I watched that show.
Boy.
Yeah, that's right. It was like a tournament type competition, and he was competing in it against the main character.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, so he's been in all kinds of stuff. He's been like MacGyver, Magnum PI.
That's cool.
Showing up everywhere.
I also see. I've seen Max Holloway in a couple things. I don't know if you've ever heard of the show Hawaii Five-0, the new one. It's a newer one.
Yeah, bro. Of course, they should have BJ Penn in it too. I mean, get all Hawaiian fighters.
I think they were part of like the SWAT team or something in one of the episodes. I thought it was cool because he pulled off his mask. I'm like, that's Max Holloway. And it makes sense because they're in Hawaii. So that made sense.
In Den of Thieves, you see a lot of random fighters.
Tyron Woodley was in that one, I think. Den of Thieves?
I think so.
I think he was in that.
Okay, do you know who Oleg Taktarov is?
No.
He was the Russian Bear. He was in the early UFCs, but not like he was in a certain point, like I want to say like 8, maybe. I'm not quite sure. That's where my history gets kind of fuzzy. But that dude, he was one of the first like guys to transfer from fighting to doing movies. He's been in all kinds of stuff. He was in Predators.
Oh.
I see him pop up in the most random stuff. And it's so awesome because watching fighting as long as I have, I could pick most of these dudes out of a lineup. So have you ever heard of The Gentleman with Hugh Grant, Matthew McConaughey? Yeah. Awesome British flick.
Yeah.
Love it. Igor Vovchanchin is in it. That dude was like the most badass dude in early Pride.
Really?
Yeah. Heavy-handed. That guy was savage. And he popped up in this, and I was like, At first, I didn't think it was him, and then I double-checked. I was like, oh, my gosh, good for him. He's doing something. Good.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I love watching movies and then seeing fighters pop up, and then I go, oh.
Yeah, yeah.
And everyone's like, are you okay?
Yeah, no one else knows who you are.
Yeah. I'm like, just being a dork. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, folks. We have some local fights like we talked about at the top of the show. We have 559 fights happening March 11th, which is in not next week, the following week, because we're still in February. And then that's going on in Visalia at the Visalia Convention Center. Tomorrow, the 26th, we have Fight Night in Hanford. Valley Fight Series is going on. So if you want to check out some local fights, not too far away in Hanford, go do that. And then the week after, on March 5th, as you can see on the ticker below, MMA Fight Pass is having Volume 2 cage fights. So go check that out. That's in Bakersfield at Elite Fitness Center. It's not a big venue. So if you go, no matter what seat you have, it's not going to be a bad seat. Exactly. It's kind of
like Visalia. That's like the Visalia Convention Center. That place is pretty good no matter where you're at.
Yeah. I told you, fight like anything over at that convention center is awesome because there isn't a bad seat in the house there.
Yeah.
I've been to all kinds of events there. That's why I'll always talk positive about it. So that's definitely going on this weekend. And that is pretty much going to do it for us. There's really nothing else going on.
Yep.
So that's going to do it for us. Our guest didn't join us, but I'll chastise him privately. Basically, I'll just be like, thanks for nothing.
Yeah.
Cool story, bro. But you all have a good time, and we will see you guys not next week, maybe the following week. We'll do a quick blurb, and we will see you then. Have a good one.